This is the first episode of a series where I take a look at different decks. Today's episode is Vespiquen, and this is the deck that I use to win the Sacramento City Championship. So you're going to be playing 4 Combees, and all you do with Combe, the only reason you play Combe is because you have to evolve into the attacker of the deck, Vespiquen. Vespiquen has Be Revenge, which does 20 plus 10 more damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile. So you play a lot of Pokemon, discard them, and then you can hit huge numbers of damage. You also play 4 Eevee to evolve into different Eevee evolutions. Vaporeon can turn your Eevee into a water type, so you can get advantage on fire types like Charizard and Entei. Jolteon is really good for the matchup of Mega Rayquaza. You turn your Vespiquen into a lightning type and then get super effective damage. And Flareon is mainly used to combo with Blacksmith, but if anyone happens to play grass, like a Mega Sceptile deck for example, you can actually beat a grass deck pretty easily with Flareon. Then the last Pokemon you run are some draw Pokemon. Unknown is really good in this deck because you discard it with Farewell Letter, and then you get to draw a card. And this just works so well with Vespiquen when you get to not only discard a Pokemon instantly, but draw a card. And Shaman is also in this deck. Shaman is what really makes this deck a lot more expensive to build, but you could always add something instead of Shaman, like let's say you really wanted to beat Mega Rayquaza, add a second Jolteon, or add another Wobbuffet, or there's cards that you might want more of, like Muscle Band or Teammates, or another energy card you might want, because this deck doesn't play much energy, so that's what you can put in if you can't afford to play Shaman, because even though Shaman does let you draw 6 cards until you have 6 cards in your hand, it's very expensive at $30 per Shaman. Now, then the next cards you play are your trainers, so you play 1 Teammates. So this lets you, it's really good in this deck because Vespiquen is at 90 hit points, just 90 hit points. So it's basically like a glass cannon. You have to assume that a Vespiquen is not going to be able to survive 90 damage, at least in the middle to late game. So you have this Teammates, usually you get it off of a Versus Seeker in your discard pile. Then you play it and get to any cards, which is really great for getting those double colorless energy. Maybe you need a Muscle Band for some extra damage, or really just any card. It really makes the deck more consistent. Then you play 1 AZ. This is if, let's say you have a Flareon or something. Vaporeon is no treat, so you don't have to usually scoop that up, but any of your other Pokemon, you might want to scoop them up because they were Lysandered, and it's tough to pay an energy cost in this deck because you play so little energy. And also, it can basically be turned into a supporter card that draws cards by just picking up Shaman, putting it back down, and drawing cards. Town Map is really good because this deck really relies on double colorless energy, so if they're in the prize card, that's really bad. So Town Map basically lets you take those valuable double colorless energy out of the discard pile. The prizes, if they happen to be prized. Super Rod is great for just recycling cards like Vespiquen that you need to attack with. Maybe you want to draw more cards with Shaman or Unknown again, if you need that, and also for recycling those fire energy. Blacksmith is a great combo with Flareon because you turn your Vespiquen into a fire type, Then you blacksmith and put 2 fire energy back onto your Vespiquen. You also play 2 Lysander. This is pretty standard. Just about every deck has at least one of these. Just lets you switch out. Great for knocking out Shaming X's for 2 prizes or something like that. And you have 2 Muscle Man just to modify your damage a little bit. If you can't afford to play Shaman, you probably would like to have 3 Muscle Band in here. You have 2 Level Ball. It's really great for letting you switch out so many cards in this deck. 3 out of your 4 EV evolutions, the Flareon and the Flareons and the 1 Jolteon, you can search at. You can search EVs. You can of course search your Combi Vespiquen line or your Unknown with that Level Ball, so it's really good. 4 versus Seekers come in just about every deck. Acrobike, it can be risky if the top 2 cards of your deck are really good, but usually Acrobike is great. Ideally, you have a Pokemon there, you discard it, you grab something else. If you need just a little bit of extra draw, it really makes this engine really fast. Acrobike, combined with Unknown, combined with Shaman, is just such a powerful draw engine. For Sycamore, it's usually a cost to have to discard your hand, but because you want to be discarding Pokemon to get them in the discard pile, Sycamore is just such a strong draw card and also lets you discard Pokemon. Then you play the 4 Battle Compressor, search for 3 cards, and discard them. This is really great for just discarding Pokemon, getting them in the discard, and in general, since the average EX is 170 to 118 to 180 HP, you're going to need 15 Pokemon in the discard to 16 Pokemon in the discard. And this would really not be possible without this Battle Compressor that lets you just straight up discard 3 Pokemon. 4 Ultra Ball, again, it's really actually a benefit to discard cards from your hand because of 2 reasons. First off, if you discard Pokemon, more damage for Vespiquen's Bee Revenge. Also, discarding cards out of your hand makes Shaman draw you more cards. And then just to finish up the deck, you have 4 Fire Energy. The reason you play Fire, of course, is because Vespiquen can be a Fire type with that Flare effect from Flareon. Then you use Blacksmith. And then 4 Double Energy just to power up Vespiquen with 1 energy. Now this deck is pretty cheap to build if you borrow the Shamans from someone, or if you just don't play the Shamans and find another solution. And it's really good, and I want to sit championship with it, so I know how good it can be. And thanks for watching this video. If you like it, like and subscribe, please.